Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Old Reader and New Reader. We have a full house today, which I am stoked for because I'm here with three of the most fantastic ladies I know, which is wonderful. And I don't know if I should introduce them or have them introduce themselves, but I will start. So first we have the Comic Slayer, who is my platonic soulmate, my co-host on Sundays for Fangirls Assemble, where we just dick around. That's how we refer to it.
It's true.
Is dicking around and, typically talking about gay comics. It just kind of happens like that. And also, it's the Comic Slayer's birthday. She chose this book.
Yeah, it is.
Happy birthday. I didn't know that.
Thank you. Yeah, I get all the 420 jokes,
Jaden's birthday in the chat.
Hey,
Everybody's
happy birthday, Jaden.
And then we have Miss Wit, who's been on the channel before. My new to comics friend, who is always down for me to be like, hey, do you want to read this book last minute and join the show? And she's like, yeah.
I'm the on-call comic book reader, and it's very clear that I'm new, hence the background. It's just nothing, because
we got to fill it up.
You got to get your bookshelf.
Yeah. Buy shelf. Got it. Buy shelf.
I was going to say, that's the first step, is buy a shelf and just fill it up with random knickknacks.
Yep. I heard buy shelf, and so I assumed it was like a queer bookshelf. No, it's like probably both.
I mean,
that's is the bookshelf itself gay? Is it a gay bookshelf?
I want to say non-binary, but we're just going to play it safe.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Don't assume the bookshelf's gender.
And our final guest of the night, returning for the second time, because I will continue to badger her, so she'll be my best friend, Jessie, very thirsty, gender.
Oh, yes. I'm always very thirsty. So there we go. It fits the theme. And I mean that in every way.
And Jessie and Kristan both have comic book channels, YouTube channels, and socials and stuff that is in the description down below. So
right there, right where my boobs are supposedly.
Please check them out. I don't know why I put them to mine. I'm up on top.
I know, I do that too. I'm like, yeah.
It's over here. It's there in that corner, right in that little space.
It's in one of them. Hayden, the most iconic squads on the internet.
Oh, thank you, Hayden.
Lovely, Hayden.
Thank you. So we are here talking about. I wish none of it. Well, Kristan kept the dust jacket on.
I just put it back on. Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's not naked.
We are here talking about Thirsty Mermaids by Leyh. So Kat also wrote Snapdragon, which was one of my favorite graphic novels of last year. Is that when it came out? It feels like it's been out forever. Yeah, last year, because I picked up at C2E2.
Last year. I was looking around for it. I don't have it near me, unfortunately.
But yeah, and that's also a very fun fantasy-esque, but yet real life slice of life book. And Kristan's the one that recommended this to me first, and then Chris, I did a show, and then I was like, hey, Kristan, 1, I'd love to have you on the show again, and 2, I'd love to invite Jessie on again. So what do you think? And she said, Thirsty Mermaids for sure. I was like, okay. Although if we had read Our Human Star before that, we would have seen Our Human Star, because it's my favorite book of the year. Whitney, I'm going to send you a link. It's free. Yeah. It's a webcomic. It destroyed me.
I'll put them up again. Yeah, pretty much. Oh my God. It destroyed me. And I was like, Maddie, you have to. And then she read it. And then we talked about it. And I was thinking that. I was like, had I read this before, I would have picked this.
That would have been the book.
That's so perfect.
But what's also perfect is this book, Thirsty Mermaids, which... before I get jumping into it, the quickest summary I can give, and the way I've been selling it to people, is that this group of 3 mermaids who were like a crew, a family,
a pod.
A pod. Yeah.
Thank you. They love hanging out at the bottom of the ocean and drinking because ships crash.
What's he gonna do?
Yeah. And their liquor and booze get stuck there, right? So they enjoy the spoils of that, but they run out. And they're like, in a drunken stupor already, they're like, man, we need more. What are we going to do? I'm like, okay, well, I'll turn us all into humans. We'll go to shore. We'll just go get some with the humans. No big deal. Having no concept of human culture. They go out, they have a party. They're like, okay, let's turn back. And they can't because they're humans. They don't have mermaid powers. So then shenanigans ensue. You got to get jobs. You got to get money. How do you deal with being in a human body? you know, and how you get back.
If they figure out, tell me.
Right, exactly. So that is the quick and the Mermaid Hangover in theaters 2022. Basically, yeah, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my quick and dirty summary of it without giving everything away. Now there will be spoilers because we're going to talk about everything. But it's, you know, I think even if we talk about it, we're not going to super spoil everything for you. It's very fun. It's very almost kind of cartoonish. So if you like a lot of like slice of life cartoons with like a little bit of fantasy thrown in, you'll like this. A lot of humor, a lot of body positivity. It's wonderful. So yeah, I guess we can just dig in. I don't know where to dig in. We can start at the beginning. We can start with talking about the mermaids themselves, or first impressions. We can start with first impressions. If anyone would like to?
I'll jump in for first impressions.
Yeah, go for it.
What chaotic hell was that in terms of them being drunk? And I was like, wait, did it start? Did the book start? I was very much like, okay, I guess it started. Now, what are their names? Did I get their names? Okay, am I drunk? Maybe I'm reading this drunk. But it wasn't that I hated that. It was just that, man, I need a drink right now. Like, I need to understand where their heads are at. And then it'll make all the sense in the world. So my first impression was like, yeah, this is an adult graphic novel that explains, you know, life and the things you have when you think you have like the best idea in the worst possible state of mind, and just all the fallout from that. So I enjoyed that part immensely once it just kind of kept reoccurring. And I liked that they all had very distinct personalities in terms of Pearl being super confident, even if they had no clue what they were doing. She's like, no, we're just going to grab these clothes. Like, come on, guys, let's just go. My legs work. Why don't your legs work? And then you got Tooth, who's just like, should I break it? Should I fight? Like, should I do this? Because she's kind of like the protector of the group, inexplicably. And then, you know, I don't know if it's Ease or Ez, but she's just kind of like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? It's okay to do this. Like, help me. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's a trio of best friends. This is a best friend journey that needs to keep going.
Absolutely.
I mean, for my first impression, it's very much the same. Like, I love the impetus of this story being just like, yeah, let's go get wasted. It's so perfect. And I also just love the art style, like immediately off the bat. Like immediately, like looking at it, it's like so vibrant and colorful. And as you say, like very body positive. Like all three of the mermaids have very different like body shapes, and like I love that, especially even when they transform as well. And then also just like they're naked half the time. Which I was all about, not in like a weird, creepy way, despite the title and my name tag. But no, it was just like very, very cool to just see that immediately, and just immediately, like this felt like a world that was like, okay, this existed prior to me starting this book and will exist past when I finish this book. It just immediately felt like very realized immediately, and the three characters felt like fully fleshed out characters from the start.
Absolutely. And I remember after, like, you know, because like, the art style's great, like throughout. The color's great, the art's great. Like, I have to be very careful about like what pages I open on the internet because there's a lot of boobs. There's no boobs here, but it's very. It reminds me a lot of like first, second comic books. But like, I remember immediately falling in love with Pearl because I think a little bit after that I was having a bad body day, and then I remember like thinking back to this book and be like, Pearl rocked her tummy out with that crop top immediately and didn't give any fucks. And I was like, okay, no, yeah, okay, yeah, she can do that. And I thought she was great. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think like they do a good job of like you said, establishing these characters immediately. So you don't need a lot of extra like information at the beginning to like really get who they are and kind of fall in love with them. And then everything that follows that is just nice added benefits. They could have just done nothing. The story could have just never progressed, and I would still have a lot of fun with it. But I'm glad that it did, and I like all the extra stuff we got with each of them because they're so different. But it's just they're so cute in a very like gaggle of gays way because you've got just this like really ragtag group of of people. But yeah.
Yeah, like Whitney said, you are really thrown in. Like, this is the first page, and it's immediately like there's fish everywhere, and she's burping because she's so drunk, right? Which I also love the colors, and everything in the ocean was just beautiful. It was very... I love how it was split up between events, right? It's kind of like you said, Maddie. These characters were so realized and so distinct in their personalities that if they would have just, done their thing on land and really not went anywhere, just got drunk every night, I really would have enjoyed it still. Like, if the story went nowhere. But I do love how it was set up with, like, here's a big event, here's a big event. Like, the title pages even were so well done. I just love how artistically they looked. Like, yeah, I can show that. I mean, come on, just look at the font. I mean, I'm going to be nerd out here, but I love the font and the way it's all like set up, such good use of space, right? And they were all like that. I just love that.
So yeah, we have the first chapter where it's just them, coming on land, which they show up naked because they've just transformed into humans. So, I mean, immediately just bare butts out. Everyone is just staring at them because they were on the beach. So probably the weirdest thing they've seen on the beach.
Yeah,
in a town like this.
I've seen a lot of weird things on the beach.
Yeah. And they steal some clothes. They steal a guy's credit card. They don't know what credit cards are. They just see that people pay with them. And so they find a bar called the Thirsty Mermaid. They're like, all right, this sounds cool. And they're just like, give us 3 alcohols, which is the cutest thing. It's like a teenager being like, you had 3 kids in a suit that went to a bar. They'd be like,
wait, you don't do that still? That's how I just say 1 alcohol, please.
Only in a panic. And that's usually because I'm too scared to order something new. So I'm just like, I'll pick something off the menu and be like, this one thing I know that is probably exists. And then of course they have a good time and they wake up super hungover, like, all right, we gotta go back. And then they can't and get adopted by this very adorable, very sweet bartender named Viv, which I remember because I wrote it down.
Nice. She was awesome.
Yeah, she was great. Very much understood her because she was just like, yeah, okay, I'll help you out. And then she has a talk with her sister later on who's just like, you're too caring, you're too giving. You would just let people into your home and take care of them. It's like, oh, yeah, I definitely feel that feel.
Yeah, because she was like, you always take stuff in, just whenever. Which, I mean, it is a big ask to take these 3 people into your home who have no money, no anything, who say that they're mermaids. Mm-hmm. But if 3 people say they're mermaids, wouldn't you believe them?
I really enjoy that trope, I'll say. That trope of people who end up in a foreign place and there's always one person of kindness and they kind of overtake their lives. It reminds me of the film, like, Earth Girls Are Easy. Like when Gina Davis runs into the guys and then they're all of a sudden in her home, basically like trying to eat her fish or her cat or something. And she's just like, I have to help them. I cannot leave them alone. And I'm like, yes, give me I have to help them every single time. I will never not turn the page.
And I also love, speaking of tropes, like I love that it doesn't linger on the disbelieving part. Because there's an element of that, but I always get frustrated when stuff like this was like, we as the audience, like, or the reader, I should say, knows that they're not lying, that they are this thing. And so when a crux of a story just spends so much time and like, I don't really believe you, you're going to prove it to me, and it gets kind of like a bit frustrating because like, we're going to get there. And it just sort of frustrating how long it takes to get there often. And here it was very much like she it's not like she's like full bore, like, yeah, you're definitely mermaids, but she doesn't like negate it or disbelieve it in every single page. It's kind of nice and refreshing.
Well, it helps that she was so chill, which she comments on throughout kind of the whole story, right? She's just she goes with everything. She's like, yeah, it's cool. Whatever. We got this. Like, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I agree because like, we just get to go in and get in the story. They're like, listen, y'all have read this trope before. Y'all have seen a Hallmark movie. You've seen people that come from the past. They're in the present. They can't believe
What's that Tom Hanks movie? What's that Tom Hanks movie where he's trying to like have sex with a mermaid?
Oh,
it's like
Splash.
Splash. Yeah, it's like just a whole. It's just the whole 2 hours of Tom Hanks trying to sleep with a mermaid. It's all right.
Doesn't talk until way too long into it. Like it's
very. The whole movie's weird.
there's some iffy stuff about movies back then with female agency.
It's even today, and just all the time. In all the movies, in all the media. It's a problem. It's fine.
But not in this one.
Yes, no, this one's great.
I'm flipping through to see if we can...
Yeah, I just want to comment on the humor, because I love the way they talk. So often I feel like, we read tons of comics, and tons of comics we love, but I'm like, people don't talk like that. But even these mermaids, I'm like, people talk like that. I feel like Maddie and I talk like this all the time to people. Like, even just Pearl, right? Like, I love this scene with Pearl, who she wakes up, they're waking up in the alley, and the sun's out, and she's like, who is this bright bitch? And then the other girl says, it is the sun, and she goes, F that. And I'm just like, yeah, that's how people talk, right?
I think my favorite line from that page or the page after was like, when did I eat sand? When did I... What is this?
Yeah, I think I had a different quote for that page. What was it? It was like, oh, the world is trying to kill us or something like that. I forget what the exact line was.
I also really love that laundry scene, because I was flipping through and there's this scene, I wish I could show it to everybody, but they've got to wash their clothes, and two of them are hanging out in towels, and there's this one thing where once like the washer turns on, Pearl jumps out of her towel, and so you just see this Pearl here with her boobs out and everything, and it's just this image of like, it's so good.
Which is so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so then we kind of...
There's boobs, so we can't really show that.
I know.
There's a lot of boobs.
Yeah.
I want to show them. With Eve, it's not as big of a deal because she's got that tattoo, so it's not like painfully obvious.
It really wasn't, because until you said tattoo, I was like, oh, so she just came with her own like cover up on one. I guess the other didn't matter. I was like, that's cool. He's like, oh, tattoo. That makes a lot more sense. And there wasn't any kind of, not that they needed it, but there was no nudity warning at the beginning of this book, was there, that I missed?
No.
But I saw now.
All right. Normalize it, because it was there, and I was fine with it.
Yeah. And that's like, this is the type of like nudity I like to see in books. I mean, I'm cool with all the nudity. I read, erotic comic books. I'm not going to front about it. It's true. But I never said front. Don't ever let me say that. Never said that out loud in my life. But it was just very natural. It's not sexualized. It's just regular bodies existing as bodies. Mm-hmm. And they wore clothes and they're like, yeah, this is fine. We don't have clothes down in the ocean.
Yeah.
I also just love like all their different, like I mentioned before, but all the different body types. We like talk about Pearl, but like Ease looked like very androgynous with the tattoos and kind of taller, lankier, and like she's freaking awesome.
Oh yeah. And I want to jump into Ease really bad, but I'm like, should we talk about more of the book first? Because like, I feel like
I have many thoughts about Ease and how much I love Ease. But wait, we can talk about other things.
So then we have like the fun job hunt part of the book, which it feels like it comes out of like, you could see this plot in a Disney movie so easily, but I love it because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfect part 2 page here too.
Y'all need jobs.
Yeah.
I love how they learn about capitalism. They're like, this is the worst.
Yeah.
Y'all don't barter?
And Viv is like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, literally there's a line like, they get taught capitalism. It just expressly states that. It's wonderful.
I like when she's like, so, and they're like, we have to do this again tomorrow? Like,
no, it's like also I feel every day.
Same.
And filling out the like employment application. Well, they're like, we can just fill out one, right? And they write Pearl, and that's it. And they barely write Pearl, and they're like, that's good enough.
Yeah, they're like,
It's so
nailed it.
intense.
Got it.
Also,
oh,
sorry.
Go.
Very good. Continue.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I also love that like it just there's gender options on that. It's like male, female, other, and it's like, oh, okay. I guess I'll fall into the other. I guess it's nice it's there.
I think that's my second favorite trope of filling out a job application when you've never done it in this world, and it's like, sex? Yes, please. Like that silly trope. I was like, please do more of those. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like when she's like, second thought, forget these flippy shits. We're going straight to the bosses. They're like, no, we're just gonna go talk to people, and they're just walking around these like not professional clothes at all, just like came off the streets.
Oh, it's the best. I love that whole moment, especially when Pearl's like, "We got this. Let's go. You can pick me up. You got this." And the woman's like, "Do you have retail experience? Like, what are you doing here? Do you have real clothes?"
Right, and they ended up kind of like helping out with some street performer by accident. So like, yeah, we could do this. And I love that ultimately they kind of all find sort of their place, because we have Tooth that ends up, after getting to a bar fight with the guy whose money that they stole,
who like forgives them very easely, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, gets beat up and was like, we're cool. Which, to be
then they're
fair,
like bonding.
yeah. To be fair, if a hot girl beat me up, I would also be like, yeah, we're cool. We're cool.
yeah, she's so tall and cool. I'd be like, that's my type. Tall and can beat me up.
That's my type too. Very much.
Yeah. But yeah, she gets like her job as a bartender, and like we have Pearl, whose first kind of like thing is just flirting with people and getting drinks for herself. I was like, all right on. And eventually just diving in the ocean meets two just nice old men at the bar who could have been creepy. And she's like, yeah, I'll show you that treasures. I'll dive for it. I was like, that's so cute. Aren't you having fun with these two old men? Who were so sweet.
Who were
Aren't they
lovely.
together too, my magic.
Yeah, they were together.
Well, they kissed each other at one point, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they definitely did.
It's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Two old treasure hunting men with the boat.
Mm-hmm. that's what I want to be when I get older. I just want to get a boat and just search for treasure. That'll be all I want.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
If only. Forget this whole talking about comic books thing and
Yeah,
whatever.
no. Just hang out at the bar during the day. That's all
Oh
I
my
want.
gosh.
No.
I want to be that person, but also talk about comics. Just to be like, you see, which even
Just
at
at
that
the
age,
bar. Just at the bar. Let me tell you about the comic books I've been reading. Okay. Just take a drink. No, it's been great.
Grandma, you've got to stop talking about Roy Harper. No one cared about him then. No one cares about him now.
Okay, but
Sad.
seriously, wait. I care about Roy Harper. Come on. Anyways.
Excuse me.
Wait, I didn't
Jessie,
even
did I
see.
tell
Open
you?
the box.
No. Oh no, what have I
My
done?
husband.
I didn't know this. I didn't know you were a huge Roy Harper stan.
I'm the biggest Roy Harper fan.
She is.
Oh
I have
my
like
God.
5 Donna Troy costumes.
Oh my God.
And I put my husband in 4 different Roy Harper costumes.
He's in it
Oh
to
my
win it.
It's like Roy Harper and Jason Todd are my two. And I love them.
Oh, Jessie. Every time I talk to you, it's just slowly. Once I can see you in person, I'm just gonna be like, hey,
Just talk.
remember me?
Who are you? Anyways.
Like, oh.
Oh no. No, I'd feel horrible. Anyways.
Anyways, that's off topic. But yeah, and then she goes into like diving for stuff. And they're both pretty happy with that. They seem to get pretty like into human life then.
Mm.
Which like at this point, like they're kind of vibing, they're doing okay. They're like, okay, if we don't go back to the ocean, you know, we have a kind of our little pod now. And like we're gonna bring Viv as part of our pod. We're happy. We're doing stuff. It's fulfilling, you know. But while this is all going on, poor Ease is really just doing her best. She really wants to get back. She wants her powers.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, she's kind of feels left out because the rest of the pod is doing well. They're adapting, but she is super out of her element. And the only thing she knows how to do is just focus on fixing things by watching like The Little Mermaid and doing research. And then of course we have that, like, she has a lot of like body dysmorphia issues being there. She doesn't want to cover up her tattoo. She doesn't feel comfortable on land. She really only feels comfortable in the water. And we get that really great conversation with Viv. Now, this was the best part of the book, so I feel like now we can just chat about this for like 20 minutes and then get off the end.
I'll just say, just to like give a like summary of it. Like, I love her depiction of the fact that she was sort of on the outskirts of her society, and the other two sort of like were also on the outskirts as well, but like less so, and defended her and stood by her, and they formed their own like smaller pod separately, and that she was sort of ostracized because she has magic and was seen as like a sea witch sort of thing, which just ostracizes people. And I mean, clearly that has like queer undertones and like queer metaphor
found
written
family.
exactly into it, and being sort of facing discrimination. I mean, that's not just a queer metaphor, but it fits that so well.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the kind of like queer representation that I love in stories like this, where we have like characters being part of the LGBTQ community, just being themselves, like the two gay treasure hunters who are lovely and adorable. So we just like get to exist in a story and just enjoy and not have trauma associated with us, but also we still get to talk about themes that are relevant to the queer community, which I think is just really, really nice to like, you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. It's not relegated to just being metaphor, but it's also not relegated to like not talking about issues that we face in certain contexts. So I just sort of love that.
Well, yeah, and then with this stuff with ease, like, you know, like we get to explore that whole issue of like body dysmorphia and not feeling up to your body and figuring out how to make things work for you and how you deal with that in a way that isn't exactly reality. So you get to deal with the thing without having to bring up the exact same thing people have gotten through.
Exactly.
Which is really refreshing to be like, okay, this definitely mirrors that. And it obviously is this, but I don't have to explore it in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think can always be really refreshing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's like, bring it back to Star Trek. It's what I like about like Star Trek Alien stuff, where it's like you can talk about like those problems, but through like metaphor. But still, like what I like most recent Star Trek and this doing is like we still get to exist there. We still get to be hella gay, which is wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. But what did you all think about Ease and her thing? No, that was kind of like the most heartwarming, but also hardest character to kind of follow.
Well, and then everything that happened in the tub, right? Like after that, and her getting salt in the tub and getting in the tub and essentially almost drowning. But it was a really pivotal part of the plot. And Pearl and Tooth come back and find her. We're like, what are you doing? And I love what happened after that, where they all wanted to like watch a movie. And Viv comes home and she's like, why is my trash can in here? Like, what is happening? She opens it up and Issa's just in there, like in her water, in her element, just looking through the hole. I love that.
Yeah,
I found it. I was looking for it. There she is.
It's so adorable.
It's great.
And for people confused, I mean, like she does that to like try to get in touch with like her aunties who are the witches of the sea. She's like, well, maybe if I can connect with them that way. But it's definitely a self-destructive way to go about it. And it's definitely part of like her doing it on her own without like, because she's like, I can't bother the rest of them. They're happy. And they're all trusting me to do this thing. And I love that right after that, they have this really great discussion about like, no, everyone needs to hold their own. You can't just assume. Like, you assume that she would just take care of the magic book she always has. But you didn't check in to make sure that you should be carrying at least part of the load and being supportive. And so it had this really just nice, like, open discussion about it afterwards, which is just nice to see. And that's why I love I love big tube comic books. Absolutely. But I love these other ones because you get to have like real healthy human communication sometimes, which is good. I think it's good for people to read. But it was really sweet to see them go through that.
I mean, and also like all of like the stuff that she goes through is like very like representative of like anxiety and depression too. Like being home, like worrying about stuff, not being able to talk about like what's happening, watching movies all day, and feeling like that's the only productive thing you can do at the moment. Yeah, I mean it's all in there. So
yeah, which I think we can all understand.
Yeah.
All of us. Definitely not me or anybody else this past weekend, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
What to touch on next? There's so many things. But I really do appreciate that moment between where Viv gets to be a mentor and understand Ease. Because Viv opens up about her own experience and like finding her own kind of pod and found family. And being like, no, I see where you're coming from. I don't think you have the word for it and the understanding. But maybe I can help provide that to you. Which matters so much. People are like, no, you don't need representation in comic books. But sometimes representation gives you the literal language you need. All it takes is one person being like, hey, I recognize something in you that I have. this is what it's like for me. Does this connect with you? And knowing it and naming it is so helpful. Not to be like too meta about this one book, but I can't help it.
Be meta. Meta is great.
Well, even Viv, like teaching her the breathing exercises. I'm like, anyone just reading this who like is experiencing anxiety and doesn't know what to do and cope, they could literally read that and learn that. And that's amazing alone, you know?
Give me very much Celeste vibes if anyone's played that game.
I always want to.
There's
one of those things.
It's a great game, which you should play. Also, Trans Protagonist, which is also wonderful.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
Yep. But they do have a section in that game too that does that exact thing, which is like the anxiety bit and like the breathing exercise. And so I wonder why so much queer media also like accurately handles anxiety stuff, huh?
Weird. It's like there's a connection.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird. Who knows? Just kidding. I know.
Oh no.
You always have to have both, right? It's like, you know, the mental illness is always there also. But also I think people that just naturally get into fandoms tend to also deal with that as well, which is why I think all comic book readers are geeky people. You can get something from this or these types of books.
Yeah.
You should put that everywhere. Shows too. You know, I know that Winnie's more of like, is newer to comic books now that she's become my friend. So I'm just like, hey.
Come with me and we'll be.
But I think a lot of these messages are getting through more on like regular television too, in addition to comic books, which is great.
Well, yeah, because it's like it's important to start showing healthy ways to deal with stuff. Like you kind of alluded to earlier, it's like we see so many tropes on TV where like people deal with stuff in unhealthy ways because that's seen as like good drama. But it can perpetuate like bad stereotypes and bad identification and unhealthy ways to deal with stuff. Like I think of probably like the most egregious example that I can think of is like the Tapes show that came out a while ago where like the girl committed suicide.
Oh,
and
13 Reasons Why.
13 Reasons Why. Thank you.
Maddie.
Yeah, it's like that
Listen,
show.
I watched all of it, and I know it's bad.
Hey, if it's your trash, it's your trash. I'm not gonna judge someone's trash. We all got trash that we love, even though we know it's hella problematic. But that show showed that enabled a lot of like really portable suicide tropes and like showing suicide and in very vivid and graphic detail, and like it's just not healthy to. I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about that stuff, we shouldn't see that stuff, but it's just shown as like the unhealthy way to deal with stuff is sort of seen the most often because it's seen as like good drama, where this book shows that you can show healthy ways to handle things and like have problems, have mental like issues and struggles and things like that, but then immediately show how to deal with it in a healthy way and still make an interesting story.
Yes. And there needs to be more of that.
Like way more. Yeah.
That's been a big thing with comics lately, that we have gotten books from the big two. They're like, okay, we're going to talk about mental illness. And they say that ahead of time and they sell it as that. But then you get there and they're like, well, it's in there, but there's not going to be ever any healthy way to deal with it. And we're going to have the same negative tropes about it. And people, and it's fine. Those exist. They should be there. But I do think there's like a lack of like people dealing with it in a healthy way. You can still have, it can still be insightful. It can still be like different in regards to other superhero stories, and you can have it be dark, but like it just still, there's nothing helpful you're getting from that. It almost can be worse.
Like, well, because it perpetuates the idea that it's never going to get any better. Like there's no way to handle it. Like if you just show someone dealing with a shit ton of anxiety all the time, but no way out of that, it's just sort of like, well, I guess I'm gonna be dealing with anxiety and just gonna, well, fuck me then. Excuse the language, but
no, it's fine. This is Late Night Show.
Okay, good.
Cursing's accepted.
Good. But yeah, it's just sort of like, well, I guess that's what I'll deal with then. But it's like here, it's like you read this and it's like if you deal with things, it's like, oh, now I have a tool. Like I came away with a story with a tool, which is excellent. Like if you come away from a story with something that helps your life in a very like fundamental way, that's amazing. Not saying every story has to do that, but I would like more to.
If you could sprinkle it in some stuff.
It's the thing is, we live in a world that is by design very reactionary and not proactive. And the proactive part is showing, not necessarily showing what happens, like the end result, but showing how we try to resolve or how we try to fix it so that it doesn't perpetuate itself. And with 13 Reasons Why, because I think about that, I read the book. I love the book. It did something for me, and it just said, speak up a little bit more. But something about the show made it seem like it was trying to glamorize things, and I could not wrap my head around sitting through a season's worth of what took me a day to read in a book. So it's just, or shows like Euphoria, or even things like we talked about the superhero comics where they clearly have something mentally wrong. A lot of superheroes are not well.
No.
But
almost all of them.
But they're superheroes. They have money. They have fame. Like, why do they need mental help? It's like, because they're going to keep doing these things. They're going to keep reacting to their world unless somebody gives them the tools to try to change it instead of setting up the same situation. So it's just, with Ease, it's just a very good example of, you may not know what to do when you see somebody like that. But if the best you can say to them is, hey, I'm not sure what to do, but I feel like you're not happy, or I feel like you're not in a good place. And if you need to yell at me, that's fine. If I need to ask you questions to get you comfortable, like, she started asking her, like, well, tell me about mermaids. And she's like, merfolk. But here's what I know. And then she got comfortable, and it's like, that's a start. That's something. You can't just, if you just ignore it, or if you just say, well, it's also making me uncomfortable, so I'm not going to just add my uncomfy to her uncomfy, then you know what? She's just going to be uncomfy to the point that they're gone. And then you're going to put it on yourself like, well, maybe I should have done that. It's like, just we've talked about it, be uncomfortable. Just be uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Just let it go. Because the more you try to be comfy, the more you're just pushing down the problem, whatever it is. And you're not allowing someone to learn from it or set the example with representation or whatever you need. And this does a good job of the representation and having words be clear and identifying, whether it's trying to identify a feeling or an emotion or an action. It's just like, yeah, this is what it is. Oh, it sucks. Yeah, it does. But that's the way it is, unless you want to do something different. And like Pearl, she's like, I'm gonna do something different. I'm not gonna fill out papers. I'm not gonna wear a shirt that's, what you think is the right size. So what? I smell like the ocean. I'm a mermaid. I'm gonna smell like the ocean. Like,
She's so good. She reminds me of Amethyst from
Oh yeah,
Steven Universe.
Oh, I need to watch Steven Universe.
Yes.
yeah.
You should, but if you ever do, let me know so I can just live vicariously.
I'm almost complete with the first 5 seasons, and then I'm about to hit Steven Universe Future.
Whitney, I didn't know that.
Girl, I got HBO Max, and it became a late night addiction. I'll watch
on HBO Max?
20
Yeah,
episodes.
it is.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
All of it.
That's good to know.
The movie too.
It'll probably be my next show after I'm watching Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beast right now, which is also great.
I've heard so many good things.
Yeah, so I very much love it. So that'll probably be after that.
Yes. I love Steven Universe. Yeah, I think if any of you watching like Steven Universe, you'll like this. I mean, I'm going on a limb here. I'm just going to assume.
No, it feels
You're right.
it feels very Steven Universe-y in that, I guess 3, because I think Crystal Gems, there's 3 of them. And then it's like beachy, but not really. And then I'm like, I guess Viv is Steven in a way. So I'm trying to make like equivalents in terms of really sweet, understanding people.
Viv is Greg. The adult.
Viv is Greg. Well, I love Greg too. Literally, I adore
great.
Greg to the bone. So
He's so great. That hair.
car wash.
But yeah, I love this found family, and I love how it adapts. And, being like someone who's usually in their friend group of like, I'll have all my shit together, I'll take care of it. I really identify with Ease a lot because it's easy to be like, hey, I'm going to take care of things. And if you don't have a sound friend group, they're not going to realize that maybe they don't need to leave you alone, even though you seem like you've got your stuff together. Because that's when the things is bad. And that's when she has to explode because she's been holding it all in. I was like, oh, Ease, I get it.
Mhm.
But question, so you said Ease is always telling them, I got this. Is she, or are they always saying,
No, they're
let's go do
assuming.
this because Ease has got this?
They're assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Because they can't do magic, and she can.
But see, that's the other thing. So when you get their sort of origin story in terms of each pod, everyone's got a little bit of magic that makes them whole. Me, I have magic all on my own, and that makes me an outsider. And then they have no magic, which also makes them an outsider, but their pod would have still kept them on because they looked like them, acted like them, talked like them, all these kind of things. So it's like they trusted her because of this whole she's got all the magic thing, but they didn't take the time to realize yet that she didn't really trust herself because of the way she was treated by everyone else other than them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you see the power in your friends, but they have to believe it themselves. You can't make them believe it themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah. So cute. I'd love a whole movie of this.
Yeah.
So
I
we
would
get
I would love this movie.
It'd be so good, right? I think it would translate really well.
Oh yeah, I think so. Also, before we move on from that one story part, this is just a random like small side, but I love the description of the aunties, like how they're described as like they were just these ethereal like eldritch horror things that just tried to make themselves look more like Easy as close as they could, and they're like they try, and then we get an image of it, and they're just like these weird giant monstrous shadow things. Like
Slender Man.
close. Yeah, it's like it's close.
Which I love because Easy's like, oh hi, and they're just like, you could just hear like the screech. You can just imagine it like.
Yeah, and they're just like, yeah, it's
shaky
cool. They
eyes.
try, they're cute, they're adorable, it's fine. They're my aunties. And I'm like, okay.
I found him. Here we go.
Yeah, it's great.
Look at
Just
all
little
those
parts.
It's like very heartfelt eldritch horror, which is not a combination I would have thought would work, but there you go.
Sometimes it does. But yeah, so they kind of make up, and because of Ease's like bout in the bathtub, she kind of made a connection to the aunties, and so they reach out and they're like, hey, we're going to help you out. But their way of helping out is a whole tsunami over the entire island or beach or whatever, which isn't ideal for the friends they've made that live there. But if they go out into the middle of it, maybe they can do some good, turn into mermaids again, and help everything. And they bring Viv right in the middle of it. And, Eve tries to go out basically on her own. But of course they go out to get her, with Viv included. Poor Viv, the human, who's just like, okay, I guess we got to go save her. Because she's adopted these little 3 merfolk. It's too late for her now. She's fallen in love with them. It's like having 3 very different, very odd dogs with some problems. It's too late. You're just like, well, I love these weirdos. I gotta do everything for them, even though they've got a little bit of problems. And they all go out together, and they get to Ease, and they face it together. And I love that too, because like they're all just very cute. It's not this like big scary thing. They're like happy and having fun, and like, yeah, well, let's do it. I regret nothing. We're in it together. So cute. And they're able to turn back, which is really cute. All of them hanging out together. I didn't check to see if there were boobs. I don't see any boobs. They're fine.
They're tattoos. They're tattoos. It's fine. Yeah. Just say that for the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah.
Tattoos YouTube algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. And yeah, they all turn back, and Viv's able to be there, although she's afraid for first thing like they might be dead. But how cute. Tooth. I love Tooth.
Tooth's like, I got my horn back.
If this was like a tabletop RPG, I would be, because I always like being like half orcs. I feel like I would be Tooth. I love being big, giant, beat 'em up ladies. But they're so cute together, and they make their little found family, and they're like, no, we're still your pod. We're not going to leave. We still got to get alcohol. Where are we going to go?
You got to get that. That's the most important. Yeah. What do you think of us? So come on.
And they're like, we could probably turn into a mermaid. It's just very nice. It's just so, again, I want this to be animated film because I want that cute little scene of them in the end.
Mm-hmm.
I want Ghibli level animation of everything.
Yeah, it ended really perfectly. And I love the after end little moments here.
Yeah.
Where you realize they come back, and I just love that.
Yeah, L. Denver brought that up too. The post-credit scene with Pearl and the other treasure is my favorite part of the book. Which, how cute. Her little dads. Her little day dads. Gay dads. Yeah, I thought it was a day.
No, you said day dads.
Day gads. Yeah, day gads.
It's great.
Day gads.
Day gads.
That is not the term that I'm going to use.
So the thing is, when you do it with ease, when you interchange letters with ease, you can't hate it. It's absolutely impossible to hate.
Mm.
I like it. You said with ease, and I thought about ease.
Like, just question to the group. So it's clear now with this and all mermaid things, film or whatever, they always go back to the ocean, except for the Little Mermaid. We have to exclude her. I love you, Disney, but we have to exclude her. I don't know what she was thinking. A mermaid is far superior.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. No, be with the problematic dude. It's fine. It's whatever. Who only appreciated when you didn't talk. Yeah, that's great.
Classic Disney. Yeah.
Also, Splash. Tom Hanks appreciated when she did not talk. Poor Daryl Hannah. I'm so sorry. But oh man. I just liked a lot of the parallels I saw in this was just like, the salt bath, whenever the mermaid's on land, she's got to have a salt bath because she can't deal with the elements. And then the ending reminded me a lot of Aquamarine in terms of they like literally swam out in the middle of a dangerous, like something or other because her father was pulling her back in the ocean. And they were like, well, we love you. We're not going to leave you. We're going to drown. We're 13 and we're going to drown. We're not going to leave you. I was like, oh, geez, why is everyone risking limbs from mermaids? They must have to connect.
And I love it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I'll be quick. I really, going back to the biodiversity, like, I'm so used to seeing mermaids in everything be the same type of mermaid always. Mm-hmm. Right? The same level of thinness, which, most on Tumblr and Twitter disagrees because they're like, no, for Mermay, which is next month, they're always like, no, mermaids would probably have blubber on them to live there, right? You would see some different types of mermaids depending on where they are in the ocean. And so I appreciate seeing at least some diversity there with like type of tail and just like a fantasy aspect and character design aspect. I love stuff like that. Mm. So I thought that was really fun.
Yeah. The part that I loved about the ending stuff was like, I just really loved that it was was all hinged upon like female friendship as opposed to being about like a love interest for any of them. I thought that was really nice because, all the other mermaid reference stuff that we've been referencing here is all sort of like a female mermaid generally will fall for a guy and that's why they sort of sacrifice to go back to the ocean or whatever happens in the end. But it's always like about a love interest and typically a male love interest. I think the only it's the only like swap of that to a degree that I've seen, but it still ends up being around like a male love interest is The Shape of Water. Even though that's technically not a mermaid story, it's very similar, which is a movie I love, but it does sort of end in a very similar way.
Yeah.
So.
But I love some monster lover movies.
Quite literally some monster lover movies in graphic detail. Anyway.
I love that movie. Mm. Elliot brought up 13th Year, which is...
That was the one I left out. I'm so glad Elliot said it. That's the one I left out. I was including it. Well,
the Disney Channel original movie where the boy turns into a mermaid.
But not till 13, and he goes away with his mother. He leaves to explore that side of him because he wants to feel whole. He knows he belongs in the water. He just didn't know why. That one's good.
I haven't seen it, but I think Amanda the Jedi, YouTuber, just covered it. But yeah, I think so. I might be wrong.
I'll have to watch that because I love anyone talking about old Disney Channel original movies.
You would like Amanda the Jedi.
Yeah,
very good YouTuber who does weird movie stuff.
Perfect. Add another one to the list. There you go. Now I've got you, so I'm just like, Let's see if Jessie agrees with me on this topic. She does. All right. So after like the Snyder came out, I was just like, here are my thoughts. You don't have to listen to me. Just here you go.
That's actually what I just steal your thoughts. That's what actually my channel is.
Damn it.
Yeah.
How'd you know? And you watched Falcon Winter Soldier before I do, and yet I don't know how. Stay with Uncle Joey. Was Uncle Joey in that movie? Or was it a different Uncle Joey? Oh, Elliot says, I, for one, love it when there's no love interest, more friendship. Elliot does love. But as someone who is more demi, I think there's usually like just nice to see friendship. And there's me who's just like, no, they're gay. Isn't we just be friends? Maddie. And I'm like, no, like every movie I watch, I'm like, beginning of Wonder Woman, that was a date. They were on a date. We all know they were on a date. It's like
we can't get into that one. It's too deep.
You're right. I can't talk about that movie.
I will say, Keep on the Age of the Wonder Beast does a good subversion of that I was like really happy about. There's like a scene where you think that they're gonna go with like the straight couple, and like it's like, oh, this comes out of nowhere. I really hate that they're forcing the straight couple, and then I won't say who, but like one of them professes love for the other, and the other one's like, oh, actually no, I'm gay, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's like really nice and very sweet. And I'm like, oh, thank God, because I did not read that at all. Anyways, it's a good subversion.
Nice.
Of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, definitely. Oh, Leyh says 30-year-old romances only. To be honest, me and I were just talking about today because there's so many like as far as like queer stories, even like straight stories. You get the meet cute, right? Especially comic book stuff or graphic novels. And you don't really get like the established relationships, just people taking time with that. It's always like the meet cute, the will they, won't they. We talk about how nice and refreshing it is when you see a couple that's just been together.
Yeah, and usually even when we see couples that have been together, it's usually like when they're breaking up after a long time. Like it's usually like a divorce story or like a tension or a story with like built around like they might break up sort of thing.
Yeah, and like we were talking about like gay couples that we see in comic books that are older, and most of the time it's couples, if they're not a main couple or if they are a main couple, they are reconnecting in old age. So they like bingo love, like something happened, they got back together later. Snapdragon example of that, like it's like finding each other later, like, oh, we're older now, but we're we've had different lives, but now we're back together. I'm like, oh, but still great. Just older people be in love. But well, this is the time before we just chill with the chat or whatever, where we give our rating of the book out of 10. I will go ahead. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. I don't have any problems with it. I really like it. It accomplished what it needed to in a self-contained volume. The art was very good. The characters were dynamic from the get-go. And it's one that I immediately was like, yeah, I could recommend this to a lot of people. I like it. I'll read it again. I could see myself reading it again in a year. And I think it's something that absolutely deserves like an animated version of it, if not a live action or whatever. Elliot, stop. This is my husband, you guys. I'm sorry. Great start to Finn-ish.
Elliot, you're my favorite person.
It's puns. Jessie, it's literally puns all the time. He gets puns constipated.
That's good.
So he just, every once in a while you see him look like this, and he has to, someone said something. He's got to like establish a pun.
Yeah, I will always appreciate a bad pun, which is a good pun. A good pun is a bad pun, and a bad pun is a good pun.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's my offering. 10 out of 10. What do you all think?
Well, my answer's boring, but I feel exactly the same way. 10 out of 10. Love this book. I picked it for a reason. I'm so happy y'all enjoyed it too.
So good.
Yeah. I would say probably the same thing. 10 out of 10. Like there's, like you said, there's like, it accomplishes everything that I wanted it to accomplish. It felt, I started and finished it really in like an hour, but I didn't feel like it went, like it felt like I got a full complete story. It didn't feel too short. It felt wonderful. The animation, the artwork is great. Yeah. I have nothing really more to add. It just did everything that I thought it did. So.
Whitney.
Well, I guess it's just 40 out of 40. So, it's totally fine. I think when I was like, Whitney, break this apart. I'm like, I don't want to. It felt like a good self-contained story that I could see moving. Like I felt a motion picture happening. Mm-hmm. And you know me, if I can feel a motion picture from something I'm reading and like looking at, then yes, 100 times yes. It needs to be in production right now, coming out in 2022. We're all going, that kind of thing. And I got different characters. I didn't get two people who were kind of alike or two people who were definitely the best friends in the group. They were all just friends who had individual talents, who had individual styles, ideals, thoughts, everything. And, you know, were just unapologetically who they were. They were not trying to say like, ugh, I'm sorry, I'm being too much. I'm like, no, this is me. I'm uncomfortable, or I'm happy, or I'm sad. I really enjoyed the colors within the artwork. I will say though, if I'm seeing, you know, because she has the cover on hers, it's like purple blue, and then when y'all have just the hardcover, it's pink and blue, and I'm like, the purple was the moment. The purple was the moment. That may have been the only thing that had knocked it down for me, because I was like, oh, I need the color scheme to like flow into every aspect. So if I leave one without the other, everyone knows she was reading Thirsty Mermaids.
So good. So Hayden said, didn't read this because I was watching Star Trek, but now want to read out of 10. Hayden's been watching Star Trek because of you and me, Jessie.
Well, fair.
So I've been getting updates.
I'm glad.
James says no fish or mermaids were harmed in the making of this old rare new reader. No,
you don't know that.
Well,
I might be having fish or had fish. I don't know. There was a joke in there somewhere. It swam away.
I follow. Lee says always listen to Kristan. I agree, Lee, because all the time, Lee.
Now read
Kristan,
this.
Oh my God! I wish.
I'm dying to read that.
I'm dying for you both to read it because I'm still not over it. Like I love this.
I told you. I knew it.
Human Star is like I can't even think of it. We're crying. If you want to talk about a really cool trans story that I was not expecting, that's the book.
I am going to have to tell you because I was telling you before we went live. Like I need to get out of the Star Trek comics. I love my Star Trek comics, but I'm part of the Star Trek graphic novel collection. And they send you them month to month, so I just have a stack of never-ending Star Trek comics that I'm like, I need to get through these, damn it! But they keep getting bigger.
Yeah, and there's robots in it.
Ooh, that's sell it to me right now. You didn't even tell me the trans story. I just need to hear robots.
Trans robot done.
Yep.
Finished.
But will they focus on her transness, or will they focus on her passing as a robot?
Here she is. She's lovely.
And that's not even that's not even the best part of it.
Oh, there's so many best parts.
And I wish I could tell you, but I can't because it's a spoiler and it's so good.
Yeah.
Winnie, I'm gonna send you a link. It's free. I read it in like 2 hours.
Awesome.
Well, if we're gonna advocate for, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was just saying my evening shot like everything else. There's so many things. There's something coming out tomorrow that Maddie and I have to obsess over literally all day and not focus. So I'm like, you know what?
It's The Circle. It's a reality show. I can't explain it.
I've heard of it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't get into reality shows because they get to be a problem. So I just avoid them completely. Yeah.
They are 110%. But like you said earlier, sometimes you know what, we just gotta own our trash, and that is our trash.
I will never judge anyone's trash. That's your trash. That's fine. If I may advocate, since we're just hanging with the chat, like I mentioned a few times, but if I may advocate, like Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beast, I've been wanting to gush about it with people at some point. So just please, people, watch that show. It's so good. I know I haven't gotten to the end, and I know I've heard from some people that the ending gets wonky. But from everything I've seen in the middle of season 2 right now, it's great. It's absolutely great. Also, if you love purple, that show is just like completely just purple start to finish, and I love it.
Well, now that you sold it more, because it's already on my list, I'll watch it. That's all it takes. It takes like one more recommendation from someone whose taste I respect, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And then like, it'll be a whole day, right? I'm just done.
Yeah.
Like, well,
let me sell it to you on one thing. You already sold on it, but I'll say one more thing. Timber cats. They are cats that are also lumberjacks, and their like leader is named Yum Yum Hammerpaw, and they sing a song about him. and it is the best thing.
I gotta go watch that. Bye.
A cat person, like literally any cat manga or comic Kristan's reviewing.
Yeah.
Because she has two wonderful cats, Buffy and Willow. One of them only has one eye. Wonderful.
She's the best.
They're adorable, and they wear flannel, and they love eating like pancakes. It is the best thing. It is absolutely the best thing.
I don't know why I want to cry about that.
They're wonderful.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna watch it. I have very strong reactions to things. This is normal.
Maddie watches it, then she'll message me, and I will sigh, open the laptop, and continue the struggle she started.
Well, I haven't even pushed Invincible on you yet. That's going to happen this weekend.
I'm already watching Invincible.
Are you watching it? Oh,
I'm watching it too. I ordered the omnibus. I have
a 13-year-old boy cousin obsessed with comics. Like the second that popped up, Sunday dinner, he's like, "Hey, are you watching Invincible?" So he doesn't want to act like we're cool with each other because I'm old, but he'll be like, "Hey, like, watch this," and I'm like, "Yes, I did, just for you."
It's so good. I want to read it. I'm gonna wait till the season's over.
Yeah, that's my thing. I ordered the omnibus, and I'm gonna wait till the season's over. And I'm gonna just binge that thing.
Oh man, we should all do a review. That'll make me read it.
If you want to, I'm here.
Yes.
Make me monetize every part of my life. It's fine. It's capitalism. It's great. It's fine.
Yeah, cosplay photography. I make money from doing that. YouTube, some money. Enough money to go towards books, really.
To feed your habit.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? I need more things behind me. I need Grogu and poor Donna Troy, whose hands fell off that I gotta put back on.
Oh.
Supposed to be invincible.
Yeah, well,
I should wait. When I say that, the word invincible is supposed to just.
I love that bit. I think it's hilarious.
It's a good bit.
You're gonna love Invincible. It reminds me of watching X-Men Evolution.
Oh yeah, I'm reading it right now, so I've been holding off on watching that.
Also, let's watch X-Men Evolution. I wish we all have a sleepover at my house. We just watch X-Men Evolution.
Please.
That's just X-Men being high schoolers.
Sorry, I just read a comment in the comments. That was stupid. Somebody said they're watching Forged in Fire, and I want them to know I have a friend who's dating someone who was on that show and won in the newest season. He's local from where I'm from. We're both from Nantucket, Massachusetts, and his name is Keaton. He's amazing. Like, I didn't realize when she said he was a blacksmith, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. He's a guy who like forges stuff. Like, it's not gonna be that good. No, he makes insane stuff. Like, and the fact that he was able to do that on that show, when they do the shows like in those time limits, I'm always like, if you can make something that you can actually use and won't break, okay, you will survive. You will survive us all. Oh. The apocalypse, you're fine.
Okay, so I guess we're getting close to time, and normally I would just keep talking because last time Jessie and I were together, we did a show for like an hour and 40 minutes, which never happens.
Like I said, I have no life other than when I exist on a video screen. So if it's not on a video screen, then what's the point of living, really?
I mean, how else are we gonna do this? I learned like Chris and I met because they chose us to be on like the girl show on this basically like dudes comic book channel or whatever. And we didn't know until the video had started that we both lived in the same state. We've never met.
Oh shit.
And still we've only seen each other like twice. But
It's true.
Well, pandemic certainly makes that difficult, but
yeah. But now we know somebody now we know where you are. Like when cons happen, we can hit a con by you and say hi.
I know where you live.
I guess I do. I can technically.
You do.
I won't abuse that. I just send you stuff.
I'll take it. But yeah. Well, there was I had another joke, but I totally lost the joke. It's fine. It's all right.
Oh no, we killed it.
Oh well.
All right. Well, this is really fun, you guys. I'd like to do it again. It's just nice to hang out with all of you and bring all my friends together. Because like this first time all of you met, so I'm like, yes.
It's like the Avengers Endgame is what's going on here.
That's my plan. It's my it's my plan of like-minded comic book readers.
Yeah.
That's all I want. And it's happening. But yeah, this was really fun, and thank you all. If you guys want to check out, I have Kristan and Jessie's info as far as where you can find them YouTube-wise in the description down below. I'll be back next Tuesday with a couple of friends reading Monster, the manga by Naoki Urasawa, because that's what won the Patreon vote, which means I've got to read it again. It's very long. And that's how it is. If you want to catch me and Kristan and I will be on the Omnibus Collectors Network on Friday talking about Batgirl by Gail Simone. And then next week talking about One Piece.
That's right.
I think I'm right about that. She's the
nailed
keeper of the schedule. I have ADHD. I do her best. How do I talk like that? It's a night. It's one of those nights where I'm too aware of my own voice now I'm talking, and so I'm going to obsess about this after the show. But
literally half of my videos are just like all the outtakes of my videos just being like, why did I say it like that? My voice is stupid. That's literally like my videos would be 20 minutes longer just of that.
Can we talk about how good I'm going to end the show, but
Please do not compliment me live. I demand you do not.
I just really like that funny Patreon thing you do at the end of the videos where you sing all your patrons' names.
Oh, that was totally I did it once just for fun, and then everyone loved it. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be my thing. I'll own this. I'll own it.
I don't know how you die out of breath because it's just.
Hard part is like I cannot like sing for crap, so I don't know why they keep asking me to. That is probably why they keep asking me to do it, anyways.
That's love.
Yeah. Embarrass yourself publicly over and over again for me. Yeah, that's great.
That's what it is. Being on the internet. People don't let me forget it. Philip. Words come out of my mouth sometimes. I don't know why. So, why? Where do they come from?
We're all going to say that to you forever now.
No. Anyways, thank you all for hanging out. Thank you, chat, for hanging out for this. I hope you all go pick up Thirsty Mermaids. Also pick up Oh Human Star, because we've mentioned it a million times.
Oh, also pick up the book Thirsty Mermaids, too.
Yeah.
Had to do it, sorry.
And I hope you like this video. If you're catching us later, comment down below your thoughts on the book. Or compliments for us. I'll take that too. I always love people who are like, oh my God, bring these people back. And so I can message and be like, they love you. More excuse for me to message you all, really, is what it is. I hope you subscribe. There's other comic book stuff here. And I'm here every Tuesday, and I'm doing a really bad job at ending the show. But yeah, everybody have a good night. And